every 3 months we will check in and say, how are you going? What can we do better? What can I do better as the forerunner of the business? What do you need? What are your goals? And getting them to know them personally is one of the things that I do try and do. And I feel that that then contributes to their ownership in the business.
Well, hello, you guys. Welcome back. I'm really happy to have you here. We're in episode 148. I have a guest for you. Lou Mathieson. So she's the founder of the Administration Agency, which is a business she established in 2019 as a performance PA. Now she's grown a lot past then. She was inspired by a colleague in the New South Wales government to basically start this business, and then she's expanded from here into a virtual hub supporting businesses all over Australia. What's interesting about her is she has staff that's onshore. So she's opted to not do offshoring, which is really unique. And you're going to hear why. She has a whole mission around why she does this and how she helps her own team as well, and the types of team that are attracted to her business. Gosh, you guys, she does, like, as she said to me on our chat, a business will come up to her and say, well, what can you help me with? And she'll just say, well, what do you need? And essentially she can help you. So she has conversations around niching with me, or niching if you're overseas from Australia listening to this, and like niching and finding your tribe. She has very clear ideas around that. She'll talk to you about, she's going to talk to us about her rebrand and if that was a good or bad idea. So overall though, I really love the conversation that we have around taking better care of yourself during the growth of your company, and what you might focus on as 2025 opens up and starts to go at a rapid pace when you're listening to this. Take care of yourselves, as she will say, and you will be able to get through anything. So let's welcome Lou to our show. Lou, welcome to the show. I'm really happy that you're here and really looking forward to our chat. How are things going from your end?
Oh, thank you so much. Thanks for having us, Heather. Yeah, not too bad. It's getting a bit crazy now, the pointy end of the year. So it's all systems go here. Yeah. Yep. Very hectic.
For everyone that I'm talking to, they're like, I just got to hang in there for a few more weeks.
Yeah, a few more weeks, please. No more work for a few. I've got enough. Yeah, no, it's fine. It's
Exactly.
It's one of those crazy times. Yeah.
It is.
Yep.
So I always start our show by jumping straight into some tactical, tangible tips. And as we get to dive into you and your business and everything, it'll become very evident that you really help people with having more balance in their business. So I love our chat that's to come. But for now, what are 3 tips that you can provide on how to grow a business or get through those moments of overwhelm when you're growing your business? Like what are 3 things you can actually do?
Oh, wow. 3 things. One of the hardest lessons I probably learnt, and I still don't do it very well, is looking after yourself. A lot of people will say that. And I say that as the top one because if you don't look after yourself, everything else falls away and everything else has the tendency to fall apart. And also your body has a way of telling you that's enough. You're pushing too hard and things like that, because as a newcomer to business, we want to do all the things. We don't want to outsource. We want to make sure that everything's cost effective. So we tend to take on all of the things, look after the clients, plus try and grow our business. So the biggest probably thing that I can say is just make sure that you are kind to yourself, that you look after yourself, that you don't expect too much of yourself as well, because I know as a confessed people pleaser, we take on a lot and we just want to help everyone and support everyone, but at the same time we don't help or support ourselves. One of the other things that I know that this is a very hard question for some business owners about outsourcing and investing in people and things like that. But one of the things that I have been so fortunate to have is a good team around me and to build that team around me. So to actually invest in people that see your vision, want to grow with you, want to come alongside you with your vision and things like that. So getting a good team, and you need to choose them wisely. I had even a situation yesterday that threw me for six with a potential new team member. So you just have to really and trust your gut is probably one of the things that I would say if you are considering investing in a team.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I would probably say as a top three is to remember your big picture, remember your why. There'll be days where you go, what the hell am I doing? This is too hard. I can't continue to grind. I can't continue to push. But if you have your vision and your bigger picture in mind and your why and your reason why you're doing what you're doing and your passion behind that, and yeah, and taking stock from kind of where you've come from. Part of our thing that we do as a strategy is, enter into awards, or at the end of every year, we like to do a bit of a presentation to the team to say, this is what we've done for the whole year. And last year there was, thousands of emails sent to clients, and it was just a really great exercise to put everything together to actually show yourself what you've achieved over the year, because you just kind of do the work and forget, set and forget type of thing, oh yeah. And I know with us, we do a mammoth amount of work for clients every week. And it just you get a bit complacent with how much you actually are contributing to their business. So to have that
Yeah.
reminder and just to take stock and see that big picture and that those achievements is actually something that can help in those challenging times and the challenging days. So they would probably be
I,
my top three.
I
Yeah.
really like that. I want to ask you one question on one of them. And that's about your
Yeah.
team. You said you have a
Yeah.
team that you really rely on, and a great team.
Yeah.
How do you share your vision to them?
Um, Great question. I I simply say I'm very transparent in what I say and what I do. I fell into owning a business and
Yeah.
becoming a business owner. I never really aspired to do that. I've heard people say no one ever really wants to be a business owner and they fall into it as well, but I truly did. I had no aspiration of doing it. The bit of a backstory: my husband and I both left our jobs for him. Well, he left his job to pursue his business, and then
Yeah.
I kind of went on the curtail of his ABN, and we both had separate businesses at the time. We both left our jobs and burnt the ships, so they say, and it was
Wow.
such a crazy time. We think back to that, but um, I think letting them know that, the risk stops with me, everything stops with me, and bringing them on the vision of trying to help people and what we do actually makes a difference. Making sure that they get constant feedback, like the client might give me feedback, but making sure that I tell them and transfer that to them to say,
Yeah.
hey, what you did, they were really impressed with, and just we were fortunate enough to win one of the customer service awards, because ultimately that's what we stand for. We stand for great customer service. Everything else, anyone else can do everything else that we do, but I think what's different with us is our customer service, because that is number one for us. So
Yeah.
teaching that to the team has been relatively easy, because they're very passionate people as well, and they're pretty much handpicked by me and by my husband, who's also involved in the business, and just making sure that they're a right fit, supporting them, getting to actually know them too, and giving back to them
Yeah.
has helped build that loyalty and build that trust. And, we do regular check ins, we do regular performance reviews, not in the traditional sense, but just every 3 months we will check in and say, how are you going? What can we do better? What can I do better? Basically, as the forerunner of the business, what do you need? What are your goals? And getting them to know them personally is one of the things that I do try and do. And I feel that then contributes to their ownership in the business. They get that buy-in. They go, yep, this is something I want to be a part of. And we know that it's not for everyone. Working virtually and remotely is not for everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone loves to work from home, but it has its challenges, and it can be quite different for people,
Yeah.
and some people suit it and some people don't, and that's perfectly okay as well. So yeah.
Got it. Thank you
Yeah,
for explaining further on that, because I had a sense that your team was really important to you, and
yeah,
that was really helpful
definitely.
for you to expand on how you work with them. So,
Yeah, thank you.
you touched briefly on the fact that you fell into business. So, I'd
Yeah.
like to hear a little bit about your journey. What was happening in the past, and how have you come to where you are today?
So I was working in government in the New South Wales government space before I became a business owner. Um,
Okay.
and with the changes of government, changes of power, we found ourselves into a different form of leadership. And the leadership for me, my experience was quite toxic. So I made the big call after just being made permanent as well. I worked casually for them for 5 years, and they just appointed me to a permanent position, and I was like,
Wow.
"Sorry guys, but I'm going." With nothing to go to. I had nothing to go to. But what happened was one of the directors that I used to work with, she contacted me and asked me if I'd heard of being a virtual assistant. And I said I had never heard of
Oh.
anything like that. And when she told me, I was just like, oh man, I just want in. Like, how do I get in? So that's when I kind of went to my husband and said, can you have two businesses on an ABN? Can I borrow your ABN potentially? So we
Yep.
kind of just started like that. And the great thing was she said, oh, well, there's a method to my madness. I want you to come and work for me for a few hours a week. So I hadn't kind of started, and I had a client, and I thought, oh, this is a bit interesting. And yeah, just worked really hard to network, and just tell people what I was doing, and that's kind of how I started. And we just grew from there. And one of the things that I've received a fair bit of criticism over in the industry that I'm in, we made the important decision not to niche our services to clients early on. I
Yep.
found that myself, I hit capacity in 6 weeks, and I had to make a decision of, is that it, or do I bring people alongside with me and the journey? So I made the decision I wanted to grow. And what I loved about it, and what I still love about it, is I'm able to provide an opportunity for other families. So, we work predominantly with mums that are at
Yeah.
home waiting for their kids to go to school, or, sitting on such untapped resources, and they want the flexibility, which is what we can offer them. So it was
Yeah.
such a great opportunity, and that really excited me and lit me up. And I was like, how can I provide more of this to other mums and other families? And we also work with neurodivergent people as well. Two of our younger girls are neurodivergent, and we love that we can provide them with a safe space where they're not client facing, but they are amazing technical geniuses. Oh my goodness, they're 20 and 21. So,
Wow.
they run rings around all of us. So that was really important to me as well. But not niching was probably a really crucial decision that we made, because I didn't want to limit what I offered people, and I didn't want to limit everything just based on my skill set, because I'm a generalist. I don't have a specific set of skills. I know enough to get me into trouble on a lot of things, but I'm not a specialist by any means. So that's where I can source specialists if I need them. And I just thought that business model lent itself more to growth opportunity and opportunities for other people as well.
I like that concept of not niching. I myself in our business am very much the same. I tend to say to people, I just want to work with people that are kind. That's my niche.
Yes.
But yeah,
Yeah,
so
that's awesome. I
it's
love that.
yeah, I
Yeah.
think you can attract people based on values, and it doesn't have to be like a
Yep.
demographic interest or behavior, sort of thing. So I love that you
Yeah.
said that. Thank
Yeah,
you.
same. I love that you align with that, because a lot of people don't. A lot of people are like, oh, well, your mistake is you haven't niched, and rah, rah, rah," and you're like, oh, I didn't want to.
You
So,
have to kind of
yeah.
listen to your gut and just
Yeah.
see what you want as well too.
Yep. Totally.
So tell me
Totally.
about your business. So what do you guys what's the name of your business, and what do you guys actually do in your business?
So, we are called the administration agency. So that we went through a brand change about 3 years ago. I was originally, when it was just me, performance PA, but we
Yeah.
knew that we needed to rebrand and reflect what we do. We offer a lot of different services, but predominantly where we kind of land and play a lot in is in the social media space, digital marketing space, governance, and just coordination, really. I probably wouldn't say administration, even though there is a lot of that element. It's more coordinating and just having that one person where you can kind of go to and say, Lou, I need this. Can you make it happen? Rather than having to go to 3 or 4 different people that can deliver exactly, what we can, but you only have to tell your story once. So you might have, needs for social media. You might have a business that needs policies. You might need some calling, or you might need, a document presented. Instead of having to go to 4 different people for that, you can come to
Yeah.
us and just say, I need this suite of services. Can you provide it
Nice.
all? And I find that business owners really love that, they can kind of see us as a bit of a hub and a bit of a package deal,
Yeah.
if you will. So, yeah, so they do that quite often. We start with someone and they find out that we can do a whole different range of services, and they're like, this is amazing. Can we increase the scope with you, and things like that. That happens all the time.
Really
And the tricky
nice.
part of that is managing that for them. But the other thing, they're probably our common go-tos, but we do a lot of different things as well. Like we might do graphics, we do websites, we do a lot of different stuff. So yeah, there's a lot,
Amazing.
a lot.
So good. Is your team all onshore in Australia, or do you have a combo
Yes,
of
they are.
offshore as well?
No,
That's
I'll be very honest, I tried when I first started. Obviously, everyone with the cost effectiveness, and I do not begrudge anyone that needs to, do what they need to do as long as they're, getting the support that they need. It just didn't work for us. The quality and the communication wasn't there for us. And that's one thing that we are very strong on, the customer service, the quality control, and the deliverables. So I wanted to support Australians. I wanted to support Australian mums and Australian families. So the price, a lot different. A lot we can't offer what they do for, $5, $10 an hour. But the quality is in what we do, which is why we charge what we can. Yeah.
I love hearing that from you. Back, 8 years ago, I closed down an agency where 90% of our staff was offshored, and I
Yeah.
just didn't like it. So many people, it's
Yeah.
perfect for them as a business model, but it just
Yeah.
wasn't for me. And now with what
Same.
I do, I'm exactly like you.
Mm.
So it's really refreshing
Yeah.
speaking to somebody like yourself where quality
Yeah.
is really important.
Yeah.
Communications, culture,
Yeah.
all of that's
Yeah.
really important. So
Definitely. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
mentioned going through rebrand as well, which I want to touch on quickly because as businesses grow and change, as you know, there's a moment for maybe where you're like, ooh, I'm outgrowing ourselves and I might need to
Yeah.
rebrand. What's your take on rebranding? Like, was it good? Was it hard? What if you were to do it again, what would you do differently?
It actually was really quite good. Um, I find, and we, I started originally in 2019, just before COVID. So if I've learnt anything, it's if it's easy, it's good. Like if
Yeah.
it comes really naturally and if it flows really easily, for me, I feel like I'm in the right space and I'm meant to be doing what I'm pursuing. And that was one that was really easy. I've heard so many horror stories about rebranding and things like that, and the transition to the new brand, how it was received and how it was delivered. But ours went really well, and that's where I knew that okay, I was meant to do that, and it was the time to do that. So, but to say that there wasn't a lot of tears or bloodshed almost is probably not. I wouldn't be honest if I was saying that it wasn't challenging, because you have to change everything, right? So we had to change all of our
Yeah.
documentation, all of our website, all of our Facebook, everything had to be changed. But like everything, I'm a real to-do person. I love my lists. I love my planning checklists. If I have one of those and I can chunk it down into bite-sized things where I can just chip away at it for a certain time, that was really helpful. And I think one of the most important things that I've seen with rebranding is I gave myself a due date. So as long as I had a deadline to meet, I felt like I was in control and it didn't kind of get away from me as much
Yeah.
as a rebrand can. So if you strategically kind of plot it out and just slowly just keep ticking away at your to-do list rather than looking at the whole thing as a whole, I find that that really helped us when we did that.
Nice.
Yeah.
It sounds like it was a really brilliant success story of
Yeah,
rebranding and
it was.
provides hope for people that want to do it
Yes.
as well. So
Yeah.
it's
Yep.
good.
Yep. It's
Now, I
good.
want to know more specifically. You mentioned and you touched on the services that you guys do, but could you think of a case study or someone specifically that
Yeah.
you worked with and paint the picture, the before and the after when they came to you? What was their business
Sure.
like, and then what did you do, and what was the result of working with you?
Yeah, sure. So we've been working with Christian radio stations in New South Wales for the last 4 years. We work with 5 radio stations,
Wow. Yeah.
and they're community radio stations. So they're run by volunteers. They don't have a lot of support. They don't have a lot of funding, and they're listener funded stations. So they came to us predominantly for sponsorship. So to try and approach businesses to advertise as a sponsor on the radio station so that they could get money and things like that and build their capacity. Um, a lot of their systems were very archaic, very different in all of them, very, yeah, run very differently. Um, I don't want to discredit what they were doing. They were getting some results, but what we did when we came in is unified and streamlined all of their processes. All of their digital media was updated. All of their assets were updated. We felt it important to implement things like regular communications, like newsletters and things like that. They were only doing them probably every 3 or 6 months, but we
Yeah.
then implemented a monthly one. So part of the licensing is also being involved in the community. So we increase the community service announcements, which is where they don't have to pay anything, and communities can just let us know what events they have happening in the towns. Christmas is a great example of that with their carols and things like that. So we're constantly providing added value to what we already offer for the
Nice.
listeners. So we did a lot of that. We revamped all of the websites to make sure that they had a consistent feel, a consistent front. We developed policies and stuff for them. So the scope for them, sorry, I'll just backtrack, grew from sponsorship to digital media to governance to looking after the sponsors to becoming an integral part of their fundraising. So
Okay.
we do a lot of different services for them, and it's evolved over time. We've supported the CEO many different occasions, from sponsorship to license renewing to ACNC applications to grants, all this type of stuff. But one of the things that we're probably most proud of is that we were able to successfully raise over $130,000 for the 5 stations collectively,
Wow.
which before that they had a collective total of about 30. So, and we implemented a lot of different practices with that. And I won't say one thing absolutely stood out from that, because I believe it's like a bit of a journey. Because we
Yeah.
increased the communications, because we told them a lot about what we do and why we're listener funded and why we need to ask for donations and things like that. Educating the audience a little bit brought that growth, and just
Yeah.
communicating and as I said, adding back to them. So not asking all the time, but also giving was a big component of why we were so successful. Um, and just really taking the time to understand where they were at, what we could bring to the table, and how we could help them improve in their services. So that's probably one of the biggest ones that we made a difference for. The other client that I would suggest is we actually ran an event space from Queens that's based in Queensland
Yep.
in our little remote Dubbo area. Um,
Yeah.
and that was really lovely too. That was a lot of fun. We implemented a lot of different things for them, a whole new booking system, a way that they took all their inquiries, and just really implemented a really robust process for them that improved their inquiries like twofold. They were able to communicate because they weren't getting to their inquiries either in a timely manner because they were just too busy. And one of the guys said to me, I don't want to do the admin. I just want to cook the food. That's what he was passionate about. And that's what we find with a lot of business owners. They have that passion, but they don't want the admin that comes with it. They don't want to have to take care of that. They just want to do what they love. And in this case, it
Yeah.
was him cooking. He was like, Lou, I don't want to do any of that stuff. I just want to cook amazing meals for everyone. So we took care of all of that stuff. And by the time he got to that client, all he needed to know was what they wanted served on the day and how many people there were. And we took care of everything else for them. Yeah, it was
You
fun.
guys really do everything. That's
Yeah,
incredible.
I
You
know.
just let the
I
business
think
owner
that's the
shine.
problem.
So, yeah.
Yeah, we try. We try really hard to do that. Sometimes, it's not all roses. Sometimes we don't nail it. Sometimes, if I'm honest, sometimes
Yeah.
we've really missed the mark.
Yeah.
Um, and not by fault of anyone's really, as you would know, being a business owner, sometimes it just doesn't fit.
Yeah.
Sometimes, the resources aren't right. Sometimes it's not the best experience. And I'm sure that we haven't nailed it 100% of the time, but the thing that I'm very proud of is that we always try our very, very best and we always have great intentions and integrity about what we do. So as long as we're
Thank
adhering to those kind of values, we're happy
Thank
at
you
the end of the
so
day.
much for your honesty as well. I would be concerned if I actually really heard from somebody in business and they said, "Oh yeah, 100% of our projects are fantastic." So
No, not at all. Not at all.
just we're
And
human
sometimes
beings. Yeah,
exactly. And sometimes, you have to push it. I'm dealing
yeah,
with a situation now where the last 3 months have been tough, but I'm still
yeah,
pushing through. And I think that's the thing. And we've had situations where we've had to call it and say, look, it's just not working out for either of us. And they have found that remote work hasn't suited their business because they hadn't kind of caught up with that curve.
right.
Um, but yeah, so it's not all roses. It certainly isn't at all.
Thank you for sharing. Yeah, thank you. That's important that you shared that. I want to talk about the future of what you
Yeah,
do in your business because I think the thing is obviously change is always going to happen. We can
yeah,
either embrace it or we can get scared of it and
yeah,
it can bring us more
yep.
anxiety. There's a lot of change out
Oh,
there in
totally,
what we're doing.
totally.
So fill me
Yep.
in. Like what's the future of your business look like, the trends that we should consider and how you're going to handle them?
Yeah, that's a really great question and one that I don't have a very good answer for, but you're exactly right. It changed. I used to think that I was actually really good with change, but it turns out I'm not.
Yeah.
So I used to like, yeah, I think I mixed innovation with change. And I'm like, I like to look at things and continuously improve them, but don't
Yeah.
change them too much.
Yeah.
Or yeah, it's very weird. I can't explain it. I think there's been I mean, COVID was what it was, but for us in our industry, it proved that virtual and remote work is very doable, and it's a very great opportunity for small business owners or even large business owners to look at how they work differently and their business as
Mm.
usual very differently. I know that there's been a bit of a change now with people and businesses wanting to move from the hybrid models and from work from home and bring people back into the office. But I always kind of think of my old boss from ages and ages ago, and work from home was like the biggest taboo thing that you could ever say to him. I'm not paying you to watch Days of Our Lives and do your washing and stuff like that. But, the stats are there that it's proven that, you can be more productive at home and the work balance life is a lot more productive and the increased demands for that. I think we will continue to see that there's so many people getting into virtual assistants or contracting work or things like that because we proved that we can do it. Like people can work from home and still be productive. Um, and I think that will continue to rise, and I think the demand will continue to rise. I think that the demand also for specialised skills is going to increase as well.
Yeah.
Um, And I definitely think that flexibility is something that's not going to be leaving us anytime soon. In fact, it'll probably increase. A lot of the studies at the moment are showing that I can't remember what they are, Gen Z, the 20 and 21-year-olds, they don't want to work the traditional hours. They don't want to work nine
No.
to five. They don't want to be bosses. They don't want to do anything like that. So, that generation that's coming through the workforce is actually really changing um, and shaping businesses. And there's a real there's real friction around that, I think, and I don't know what that will look like in the next few years, but we will continue to offer that flexibility. We will continue to work with the team that we have and potentially bring on new ones. And one of the things that I've been really grateful for this year is the amount of people that actually want to work with us. So, and that's really important to me, as you mentioned before, building a culture that people actually are happy to come to work, and people are really passionate about what we do and how we help people and things like that. So continuing that culture is really important for me, and that will be something that I will strive for the next however long I'm in business. And just, educating people is important as well, clients, staff, team, everyone, about what you do, because the question is, well, what do you actually do? I get that asked all the time, and I still have not nailed my pitch. I cannot for the life of me nail a pitch and say, I freeze every time when someone says to me, what do you do? And I think it's because we do so many different things. And I
Yeah.
often answer it with a question, and I said, oh, look, I'm really sorry, but what do you need is more my response. How can I can kind of show you what I do if you show me what you need. I can kind of, yeah, I still haven't nailed that after 5 years. So if you've got any suggestions, let me know. But that's probably it. And just my aim is just to build stronger client connections, community, team. That's on the radar for TAA for the next few years. Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, it's a huge testament to you that you have been able to attract remote workers that want to work with you based on your culture, because that is one of the hardest things you can do when people are not collectively in an office day in and day out. So that says a great deal about how you run your business, and really, truly incredible. And what I'd say to the pitch, gosh, I think you help business owners absolutely. You allow them to do exactly what they love to do. And you do that by taking care of all the things that they don't. But to bring it full circle, full circle is, right. And then you end with the pitch saying, so what do you need?
What do you need? Exactly. And it's funny because we have the tagline of, helping you with the momentum to move forward. And that's what we want to do. We want to empower the businesses to go, you know what, we know that it's tough wearing all the hats, but you don't have to.
Absolutely.
And it's more affordable than what they think most of the time. So
well said. And speaking of that, then, where do people find out more about you, Lou, and the services, and how do they come into your world?
Yes, please come into my world. Our website is probably the best place to go to, and it's administrationagency.com.au. And on there, we've actually got a checklist that you can download if you're wondering what we can do and what type of things we support with. There's a checklist that you can download that'll give you 50 tasks that we can immediately help you with. And touching on that, I had a local client the other day, actually, and it's the first time it's ever happened, where she'd printed off the download and ticked everything that she wanted to talk to us about. And I was like, that's amazing. It was great. It was good, because you never know like what people think of it. But she came to the meeting with it and she said, right, I want to talk to you about this one, this one, this one, flip the page, this one, this one, this one. I was like, oh, this is amazing. So, but yes, so if you're worried about or wondering wondering what we can help you with, I encourage you to go and download that.
Perfect, you guys. That's where you go to head off. Get that PDF, administrationagency.com.au. And as we start to wrap up, are there any last words of wisdom or advice that you'd like to leave people with?
What would I like to leave people with? I would look, I'm very honest. I am not an expert. I just love what I do, and that's helping people You never know what people need until you ask. And I always ask the question of, tell me, talk to me, what do you need? And building that trust. I think serving people is very close to my heart. So, and that includes my team, making sure that I serve my team to the best that I can. Um, Celebrating small wins, I think, is huge as well, and that's probably one of the biggest pieces of advice that I'd like to leave. Just celebrate those small wins, because it can be a robber of your joy when you focus on what you haven't done, or what you think, oh, I haven't done this yet, or that was a crap day, or geez, that sucked, or something like that. And so easy for us to be so hard on ourselves and speak negatively, and fall into that imposter syndrome every day. I fall into that, and you've got to bring yourself back out of it. But we actually have an active board on our Slack channel. We use Slack a lot and talk to the team a lot throughout the day, and we have a celebration board where people, and it's so uplifting, because even the smallest things that, I've got all the content done for December for this client, or this today I achieved this, and it's just really motivating for all of us. And if you're having a bad day, or if I'm especially having doubts, or finding myself a bit challenged, I'll go back and read that, or look at the presentation that we did last year and go, you know what, we have come so far and built so much and done so much for clients, and that's something to be really proud of. So celebrate your wins and take it easy on yourself.
Thank you so much for those words of advice. That's a really brilliant way to finish the episode. And thank you for being here, Lou. I've loved our chat and all the jewels that you've shared with everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's been fun. Thank you.